What if everything you believe about reality is wrong? What if the world you think you know is just a shadow? We often talk about seeing the truth. But what if the very way we see is flawed? Today, we're rediving into one of the most powerful thought experiments in history. Plato's allegory of the cave. It's a story that's been around for thousands of years, but it's more relevant now than ever. By the end of this video, you might just look at your phone, your news feed, and even your own thoughts in a completely new light. Are you ready to question everything? Let's find out. Imagine, for a moment, a group of prisoners, not just any prisoners, but people who have been chained their entire lives, deep inside a cave. Their necks and legs are bound, so all they can see is the wall directly in front of them. Behind them, there's a fire. And between the fire and the prisoners, there's a raised walkway. Along this walkway, people are carrying various objects. Statues of animals, people, trees, all sorts of things. The fire casts the shadows of these objects onto the wall the prisoners are facing. These prisoners have never seen the actual objects, nor the people carrying them, nor the fire. All they have ever seen are the shadows dancing on the wall. For them, these shadows are reality. They give names to the shadows, they discuss them, they even celebrate the one who is best at predicting which shadow will appear next. Their entire world, their entire understanding of existence is built on these flickering images. This isn't just a story about a cave. It's a story about how easily our perception can become our reality, even if that reality is just an illusion. Now, imagine one of these prisoners is suddenly freed. His chains are loosened, and he stands up. At first, the light from the fire behind him blinds him. It's painful. He's confused. He tries to look away, back to the familiar shadows he's known his whole life. But slowly, his eyes adjust. He sees the fire, the puppets, the people carrying them. He realizes that what he thought was real was just a projection. This is a huge, unsettling discovery. His mind is blown. He might even feel anger, disbelief that he'd been fooled for so long. This freed prisoner is then dragged forcefully out of the cave, up a rough, steep path, into the blinding sunlight of the outside world. The sun is even more painful than the fire. He squints, shields his eyes. Everything is too bright, too overwhelming. He can't make out the real trees, the real animals, the real people. He might even think the shadows in the cave were more real than these painful, blurry forms. But again, slowly, painfully, his eyes adjust. First, he can see reflections in the water. Then, he can look at the shadows of real objects. Then, he can look at the objects themselves. Eventually, he can look directly at the moon and the stars at night. And finally, even the sun itself, understanding that the sun is the source of all light, the source of everything he can now see. He realizes the immense difference between the shadowy world of the cave and the vibrant, full world outside. He feels pity for his fellow prisoners, still trapped in their illusion. What does he do then? He feels compelled to go back into the cave, to share his discovery with his friends. He wants to free them, to show them the true light. But when he descends back into the dimness, his eyes are again accustomed to the bright, outside world. He can barely see the shadows on the wall. He stumbles, he squints. The other prisoners, who never left, see him as foolish, broken. When he tries to explain that the shadows aren't real, that there's a more brilliant world outside, they laugh at him, they mock him. They might even become angry and try to kill him if he tries to unchain them, because their comfortable reality is being threatened. That's the allegory of the cave. Plato uses this powerful story to explain his ideas about knowledge, reality, and education. For Plato, the cave represents the world we live in, the world of appearances and senses. The chains represent our ignorance, our preconceptions, and the things that prevent us from seeing the full picture. The shadows on the wall are the illusions, the partial truths, and the opinions that most people accept as reality. The journey out of the cave is the process of enlightenment, of gaining true knowledge, which Plato called forms or ideas. The sun outside the cave represents the ultimate form of the good, the source of all truth and understanding. And the returning prisoner, that's the philosopher, the one who has seen the truth and feels a moral obligation to share it, even if it means being misunderstood or rejected. Now, you might be thinking, that's a nice story, but what does it have to do with me, right now, sitting here watching this video? Well, that's the challenge. We are living in a world that in many ways mirrors Plato's cave, but with a few terrifying upgrades. Think about how we consume information today. We are constantly bombarded with images and narratives. From our social media feeds to news channels, from targeted ads to curated realities, we are often seeing shadows of information. These shadows aren't just accidental. They are often carefully crafted. Consider social media. For instance, each platform uses complex algorithms designed to show you what you're most likely to engage with. If you click on a certain type of content, the algorithm shows you more of it. This creates an echo chamber, or what some call a filter bubble. You are constantly shown information, opinions, and even friends that reinforce what you already believe, or what the algorithm thinks you want to see. This is the modern-day equivalent of the shadows on the wall. You believe this curated feed is the full picture of the world, when in reality, it's a very narrow, biased sliver. You're not seeing the full spectrum of views, just the ones that reflect back what you or the platform wants. Think about how news is presented. In a 24/7 news cycle, speed often trumps accuracy, and sensationalism often trumps nuance. Headlines are designed to grab attention, often exaggerating or simplifying complex issues. Cable news channels, in particular, often cater to specific political viewpoints, becoming shadow makers that present a carefully selected version of reality. Are you seeing the full story, or just the shadows cast by a particular agenda? Are you seeing objective truth, or just reflections of what someone wants you to believe? And it's not just about what you see, it's about what you don't see. The algorithms and media filters are like the blind spot. In your perception, they determine what information gets amplified and what gets suppressed. They control which shadows flicker on your wall. This isn't some conspiracy theory, it's how these systems are designed. A 2018 study by researchers at MIT and Yale found that false news spreads significantly farther, faster, deeper, and more broadly than the truth on Twitter. Especially political news, because falsehoods often appeal more to novelty and emotional responses, making them more engaging, more like dramatic shadows. So, how do we break free from our modern cave? How do we become the enlightened prisoner? It starts with a painful process of turning our heads. First, recognize the shadows. Be aware that much of what you consume online and through traditional media might be a partial truth or a curated reality. Don't immediately accept what you see as the whole picture. Question the source, the motivation, and the completeness of the information. Ask yourself, who benefits from me believing this? Second, seek diverse perspectives. This is like turning your head to see the objects themselves, not just their shadows. Actively seek out news sources, opinions, and ideas that challenge your existing beliefs. Read articles from different political leanings. Listen to people with opposing viewpoints. Engage in respectful dialogue with those who see the world differently. It will be uncomfortable, like the sun burning the freed prisoner's eyes, but it's essential for seeing the broader reality. Third, Engage in critical thinking. This is the journey out of the cave. Don't just absorb information. Process it. Ask why and how. Look for evidence, logical fallacies, and inconsistencies. Learn to distinguish between facts and opinions. This means putting in the effort, just as the prisoner had to climb the steep path. It's not easy, but it's how you move from merely perceiving shadows to truly understanding. Fourth, prioritize real-world experience. While the digital world offers immense connectivity, it can also pull us further into the cave. Step away from the screens. Engage with people in person. Experience nature. Travel. Volunteer. These real-world interactions and experiences are like the prisoner finally seeing the sun. They provide a foundational, unfiltered understanding of reality that no screen can replicate. Fifth, embrace discomfort. The truth can be uncomfortable. It can challenge deeply held beliefs. It can force us to admit we were wrong. But like the freed prisoner, enduring the pain of sunlight to truly see, embracing this discomfort is crucial for growth and genuine understanding. The allegory of the cave isn't just an old story about ancient Greek philosophy. It's a timeless warning and a powerful guide for navigating our complex, information-saturated world. It reminds us that what we perceive as reality might just be a carefully constructed illusion, and that true freedom comes from the courage to seek the light, no matter how blinding it may seem at first. If you want to dive deeper into ancient wisdom that's still relevant today, click on this video next.